What does the latest big trade in the NFL mean for the Dolphins and Chiefs with Tyreek Hill on the move? It's time to break it down from a fantasy football perspective right here as we begin another episode of Locked On Fantasy Football.
Our Locked On Fantasy, your daily NFL fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Fantasy Football. As usual, I'm your host, Vinnie Iyer, and I'm not doing this. I'm writing about NFL and fantasy football for sportingnews.com. We did it again. We talked about our series continuing on the depth chart updates around the league. We're trying to settle here, figure out things offensively here in the offseason before the NFL draft. But another big move goes down. Another elite wide receiver on the move. We know Davante Adams is going from the Packers to the Raiders, and we also know that Tyreek Hill is leaving the division. He's being traded to the Dolphins here by the Chiefs. So this Davante Adams contract and being too rich there, the Chiefs also passed on re-upping him. So interesting. Adams and Hill have been pretty close in the fantasy football rankings as consensus top picks at that position. Now they're both on the move here. So we broke down the Davante Adams deal in detail for you and what it meant for both sides. We broke down for you Matt Ryan going to the Colts and Marcus Mariota going to the Falcons. So yet another big trade goes down. It all started with that Russell Wilson bomb, and it keeps on coming here. And we'll make sense of this latest move here with Tyreek Hill, what it means for Tyreek Hill's fantasy value as an individual. What does it mean for the Chiefs? What does it mean for the Dolphins? Then looking at specifically the values of Tua Tagovailoa with Tyreek Hill as his number one receiver and Patrick Mahomes losing his longtime go-to guy here. So it's a very interesting move that happened, a money-saving move there for the Chiefs, preservation for the future to help build around for Mahomes. But in the short term, there are going to be some repercussions there, and we'll break it down for you here on Locked On Fantasy Football. Thanks for making it your first listen every day. We're free and available for you on all platforms. Okay, let's dive right into Tyreek Hill. So what situation does he leave? He leaves Travis Kelce now as the clear go-to guy all alone there. And we look at behind him, Mecole Hardman is the next guy up at wide receiver. Let's see how he fits in with the Dolphins now. He immediately becomes the number one. Jalen Waddle becomes a very attractive number two. And you also have a Mike Gesicki coming off a strong season, good chemistry with Tua Tagovailoa. So those are your top three weapons. Remember, in fantasy football, we're looking for the rule of threes there. If you're in the top three in your pecking order at wide receiver, you're going to have a chance here. So clearly for me, the Dolphins, how it goes is Hill and Gesicki. They're maybe trying to recreate that with Mike McDaniel coming over where they have the versatility. So you have Hill and Gesicki is your primary with the copycat from Travis Kelce and Hill in that situation. So you're looking at that. But Jalen Waddle came on strong last year as a rookie. He's got a similar profile to Tyreek Hill, a lot of quickness, a lot of speed, versatility. They can use him on some end around and other running plays as well. So basically they have two Tyreek Hills on the field right now. That's how good I think Waddle can be, and the comparisons are apt there with the speed and quickness. So this is great news here for Gesicki and Waddle as well. So looking at Tyreek Hill, people might think his fantasy football value might be down here, but he goes into a similar situation. I don't think, again, it changes too much, whereas there's Waddle and Gesicki were pretty much in Kansas City. It was pretty much Travis Kelce being the interchangeable elite high-volume target here. So a little bit extra mouth to feed, a little bit downgrade at quarterback for sure. Tua Tagovailoa is still trying to find himself. Patrick Mahomes established as a big play quarterback, we know, being able to get the ball downfield. Tua has a strong arm too. It's a lefty thing as well. So he's going to have to adjust to the ball coming out at a different angle there. So it's going to be an adjustment for sure with Hill. And again, that extra guy that they have to produce between Waddle and Gesicki and Hill, that's going to immediately drop down Hill's value. So He was a high-end wide receiver one. Also keep in mind the age is creeping up there. And he's a guy based on speed, quickness. He's had some soft tissue injuries, the hamstring notably here. So you have to expect some diminishing returns from Tyreek Hill at some point here. And again, he won't be double teamed. That's a good sign here with the other weapons here. I think he'll still see those double teams, but you leave Waddle and Gesicki wide open. That's why we think that's going to be great for them here overall. So Waddle's value as a wide receiver 2 goes up. He might have been a wide receiver 1 and being the man here, but now Hill coming over drops him a little bit here. And Gesicki stays pretty steady as a tight end that they really like and coveted for Tua Tagovailoa. So it's looking really good here overall for the Dolphins offense around their quarterback. But yeah, looking overall, you got to say that Hill has to have a downgrade in numbers. It's just going to happen here. Because remember, it wasn't just the wide receiver core and just in general pass catchers Dolphins are upgraded. Remember, that position behind those guys, now Hill, Waddle, and Gesicki, you have Devontae Parker. Don't forget about him. He's still in the pecking order. They went out and got Cedric Wilson of the Cowboys before the Tyreek Hill went down. Trent Sherfield, he's bounced around between the Cardinals and 49ers. He's also now in the system, reuniting with Mike McDaniel. You have Preston Williams. He was re-signed as well. So you got some depth at receiver, some actually decent guys you can turn to, starting with Parker. I like Wilson as another big play threat when they can stretch the field with 4 wide receivers there. So looking at this situation for Dolphins, again, I think the bounce overall better that can be fed here with Tua Tagovailoa. Again, the quarterback downgrade, the depth upgrade at wide receiver, and the weaponry already existing between Waddle and Gesicki, all that add up to Tyreek Hill having a little bit lesser value in fantasy football. Is he still wide receiver 1? Absolutely. He's still there, but more in the 7 to 12 range, the first wide receiver off the board here. I mean, you don't pay him that much money to also downgrade his role that much. But again, part of that money is upgrading the other 2 receivers and their looks here as well. As he's going to be alpha, demand a lot of attention wherever he goes on the field and open things up for the other guys. So Hill has a lot of value in reality for the Dolphins. Again, a little bit curbed value in fantasy, not too much, so let's not go overboard and drop him into the wide receiver 2s because of the situation away from Mahomes. All right, we will look at the rest of the Dolphins here. So again, with Hill, he's a pretty down, but pretty static here as well in terms of his production, where it's wide receiver 1, but also a little bit lower end wide receiver 1. With Jalen Waddle, again, I'm looking at the wide receiver 2 with upside because these guys are interchangeable. So excited about that. It would not shock me if Hill finished in the top 12 and Waddle was right there in the top 15, top 20 at all. So keep that in mind. I think Gesicki, you mentioned, pretty much the same tight end 1, maybe with a little bit of bump there, but also less touchdown. So I think he levels out to the same level he was as a tight end 1 in 2021. No, I don't think you can look at Devontae Parker at all. He has no value. He couldn't stay healthy. He's got the hamstring. So, yeah, I know he's their outside guy, and they're going to use Hill and Waddle interchangeably in the slot, but still with the presence of those 2 and Gesicki, I don't see Parker having a big role. Cedric Wilson back to being that depth receiver he was with Dallas. Preston Williams, who knows if he'll make the team. He re-signed before all this went down here, and Sherfield has the familiarity in the system, which keep him in the mix here to potentially make the team over Williams at this point. And there's other guys hanging on, like Alan Hearns. They also have Alec Ingold. They're upgraded fullback. So overall, you look at them as a whole with their receiving core and tight ends, pretty strong. And Durham Smythe also there behind Gesicki. He's coming back. And then you have Chase Edmonds, a very good receiver out of the backfield side. He was Miami's first offensive move, and they were not done here with the Dolphins' momentum. They also had a Raheem Mostert for the backfield with Myles Gaskin. So decent receivers there in the backfield. And everything is going to be helped by Hill because he stretches the field, demands so much attention here. So slight bump up for all the principals there for the Dolphins, except for Parker and Wilson, who really are affected by this for sure, being buried on the depth chart and the pecking order in the passing game for Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, that takes care of the Dolphins' comprehensive look. Now we'll take the Chiefs' look here, what this means and who has the biggest opportunity, where the Chiefs might go for a Tyreek Hill replacement here in 2022. It is that time of the year again. Sometimes you can give up on your New Year's resolutions, but Built Bar, speaking personally, it's easy to stick to my resolution to eat right thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I really enjoy eating them. Have you tried the Puffs? You haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy, they're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite because they have those incredible flavors: yummy cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. They're also good. These are going to be among your new favorite Built Bars. And all the Built Bars you get covered in 100% real chocolate. That includes the Puffs. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They are better for you. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. That's just not going to cut it. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams sugar, 4 grams net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Candy bar we know has about double the amount of calories, well, around 8 times as much sugar there, and dozens of net carbs more than what you get in a Built Bar. Check out all the great flavors, including mint brownie, coconut almond. There's always coming up with new flavors there at Built Bar. If they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It'll be delicious, and it'll be good for you as well. Get it on Built Bar right now. Go to Built.com. Use the promo code LOCK15. Get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, we will continue the show looking at the Chiefs' perspective of this shocking Tyreek Hill trade. There, he's going to Miami, back to Miami, where they won the Super Bowl, made the big play there. Now he's going to play there full time for the Dolphins, and the Chiefs left scrambling here if they didn't want to pay that big contract going forward, $30 million a season. Thanks for making Locked On Fantasy Football your first listen every day. Make sure you're following Locked On NFL. Locked On experts covering the biggest stories around the NFL every Monday through Friday, less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, Chiefs, let's look at their depth chart here at wide receiver. We hadn't even talked about the wide receiver depth chart, so it's good we're holding off and doing these special shows on these big trades. Mecole Hardman, he's long been drafted as a Chiefs contingency plan for Tyreek Hill. Well, here's his opportunity. A lot of the same speed, quickness attributes, not quite as fast and not as quite as quick here, but Hardman has a big chance here. If they believe in him and they don't really change things up in the draft, he's going to have a big role here for sure, out of necessity. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to trust him. He'll rekindle that relationship on the field here during the offseason and throwing and all that. So watch out for Mecole Hardman. He could shoot up way up here into wide receiver 2 status. Juju Smith-Schuster, the new signee, he looks like a wide receiver 3 right now based on the needed usage. Again, Hardman and Juju are going to be a little bit more split. They're working the slot outside as well to be more of a committee and split a lot of the Tyreek Hill work here in 2022. As it stands, they also could look to wide receiver in the draft. I love Jahan Dotson of Penn State. I think he would be a great replacement here for Tyreek Hill if they can grab him in the first round. Remember, the Chiefs now picking number 29 and number 30. 29 was the Dolphins pick. They gave up the first rounder for Hill. So they got 29 and 30. They've got options to go after a wide receiver draft, whereas Jahan Dotson of Penn State or Drake London of USC. All right, they also have Josh Gordon. People are going to be more mystified about Josh Gordon in fantasy football and try to make it work here. I don't see him being the big beneficiary here. He's now a role-playing speed receiver. He's a little bit older as well. So Hardman has the biggest opportunity. Juju as well to take advantage of this to really connect with Mahomes. I'm going to keep it slow on Josh Gordon. He's a wait-and-see wide receiver 4 at this point. Waiting and seeing what the Chiefs may do at wide receiver in the draft. Look at Travis Kelce there, and look, he's a big beneficiary. We know he's going to get a lot of targets here and dominate what they want to do. So Travis Kelce, without Tyreek Hill, he's the ultimate go-to guy now. So Kelce, value as a tight end 1 and a first-round pick potentially, even versus RB1s and wide receiver 1s are pretty huge here in 2022. Rounding out their depth chart, they have Cornell Powell. He's a guy there that was at Clemson. Gary Jennings, a former pick of the Seahawks. You have Justin Watson. Remember, he was a third receiver at one point for the Buccaneers. Another first-round pick, Corey Coleman, didn't quite work out with the Browns. And you have Gary Dieter. He's a bit of a possession receiver. So not a lot there. I would assume that the Chiefs do draft a wide receiver. Remember, they need Juju Smith-Schuster for a little bit extra wide receiver help. They moved on from Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson, Sammy Watkins. All those people are gone. So they need a little bit more wide receiver depth. They needed that with Hill round. They definitely need it now. So look out for Dotson or Drake London in the draft for the Chiefs here in 2022. Now, we know Patrick Mahomes is taking a hit. We'll talk about that in our final segment and look at where Tua Tagovailoa could go here and really improve his draft stock here in 2022. I got to tell you about Athletic Greens before we get to that final segment. I started taking Athletic Greens. I got my first shipment in the mail, and I'm hooked. I really love Athletic Greens. It's very fresh, nutritious. It's a bolt of energy every day. Really takes care of you really well, and it's a really healthy way to start your day, finish your day, however it is. Athletic Greens is going to keep you going. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. Contains less than 1 gram per sugar there for each serving. GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything while still tasting good. It supports your better sleep quality. I've definitely felt that. I've slept better when I've been using Athletic Greens and having a shake in the morning or at night. Supports your mental clarity and alertness. Definitely, I feel that here. It's one thing with the best things. Athletic Greens use the best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third-party testing. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. It's cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance here for yourself. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. Just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NFL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NFL Network. You take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens, check it out. It's fantastic, and it's going to make your day every day better, just like listening to shows here on the Locked On Network. All right, it's time to close the show looking at what this does to the fantasy values of Patrick Mahomes, first and foremost, and then looking at Tua Tagovailoa here. So what does it mean for Patrick Mahomes to have no Tyreek Hill? Well, it's a big hit. Mahomes, a lot of his touchdowns, the big play, the yardage, we know that. It's going to be downgrade Patrick Mahomes. And there's a lot of quarterbacks coming up the charts here. We know Josh Allen has displaced him as the number one option. You have Justin Herbert. You have Tom Brady returning, Aaron Rodgers. So Mahomes keeping that edge as an elite QB1 is going to be hard. I still think he's going to be a top 5, top 6 QB at worst, but he's now not in that running for that top 3 without Tyreek Hill for sure. Now, they definitely could replace Tyreek Hill. As we mentioned, Jahan Dotson, Drake London are 2 of the draft prospects that could get late, maybe Traylon Burks. So they could definitely do that, but he's a rookie, and there's going to be an adjustment period. I don't feel any of those rookies that aren't Chris Olave or Jameson Williams or Garrett Wilson are going to have that immediate impact the same way. The Chiefs could package a deal here with 29 and 30 and move up to try to get those receivers. Then it might change his value of Mahomes. But you as a guy that is so familiar, Mahomes can improv, stretch the field, and know he can turn around and throw the ball to Tyreek Hill and get it to him wherever he is, streaking 50 yards downfield or on a comeback route or curl. That's going to hurt Patrick Mahomes. It's just going to keep him holding the ball a little longer. I don't think he trusts Mecole Hardman in the same way. Juju Smith-Schuster is more of a slot underneath short to intermediate receiver at his best. Kelsey is pretty good at stretching the field, but he doesn't get as deep as Tyreek Hill. So they need someone to push a defense vertically a little bit more. Hardman hasn't been that guy. I don't think the Chiefs believe he's totally that guy. So watch out for London or Dotson filling that role. Or if they really get creative here, Williams, Olave, or Wilson could end up. So we're going to watch that and see if Mahomes can have his value rebound here. But in this current state, without addressing wide receiver in the draft in a high position for immediate starter, Mahomes definitely takes a hit in the transition from Tyreek Hill to Juju Smith-Schuster. That's basically what's happened right now. And you have to assume Hardman has an opportunity here, but they're going to be very careful with that. Kelsey in really good shape. Maybe Josh Gordon gets an opportunity. But we're going to watch this carefully with Mahomes. Can he develop the same chemistry with Juju or Gordon here to help with his fantasy value, especially in red zone and scoring? and that aspect of Tyreek Hill's production, then we're going to look for the vertical threat maybe coming in the draft here in 2022. So Patrick Mahomes again, QB1 still, but downgrade him just like Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1, downgrade him a little bit in the breakup of these two fine fantasy studs. So no longer that stack you can make season long here between Mahomes and Hill. Now you can do it Tagovailoa and Tyreek stack. I say that fast 5 times here, but so yeah, Tagovailoa is locked in with Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki. So it might take a little bit of time for Tagovailoa, especially being a left-handed quarterback and trying to match the same arm strength, to have that comfort level. So there's going to be a little bit of upside with Tagovailoa, but also a little bit of downside. He's got to adjust, but the weapons are certainly there. I think his team wants to be a running team at heart with Mike McDaniel come in. They upgraded their offensive line with Teron Armstead as well. So this is a pretty good offensive line for the Dolphins here. They've upgraded pretty well here this offseason. So look, they want to throw the ball. They got to get it downfield. But again, backfield is going to be where Mike McDaniel is going to get right first with Edmonds and Mostert beyond that line, running behind the athletic Armstead. So I think this team will lean a little bit more running. I think the defense is not good enough to keep the volume down for Tua Tagovailoa. He also has to deal with Mac Jones in the division, Josh Allen in the division. So some higher scoring games in the division and the conference with all these quarterback plays. So Tagovailoa definitely has to go up. This is a make or break year for him. There's so much talent on the field around him that you think he should stumble upon some good fantasy football value, especially if he can do a little bit of running and use his athleticism to pad that. But look, Tagovailoa was not even in the conversation to be a QB1. He was way buried as a QB2 before this Tyreek Hill move. But now starting to look at the numbers, and if he can stay healthy, watch out. I mean, these weapons are greatly improved. And we're not just talking about Hill, Edmonds and Mostert, Wilson, Sherfield, all in the mix here with Gesicki and Waddle and Parker. So everything's right there for Tua. The pass protection, the running game balance, the ability to get the ball downfield. It's all on Tua to produce, but he is worthy of a top sleeper here. The QB2 that comes in the conversation as a borderline QB1, that's how good this situation has become here with Tyreek Hill joining the Miami Dolphins. So excited to see what Tua can definitely do now. And again, we're going to watch him very carefully and watch that chemistry again, how it plays out with Hill, because that will mean a lot of things. If you can see this offense kind of rolling, it's also adjusting to a new offense here with Mike McDaniel. But a lot of upside with Tua, and he's going to be a popular pick. We're going to watch him very carefully. We saw what happened to Joe Burrow last year. He ascended in that realm. Tagovailoa is a little bit behind Burrow and Herbert in that class, but watch out for him now shooting up there. So Mahomes, a slight downgrade as a QB1, Tua, big upgrade into potential QB1 conversation, we'll say, there at the late QB2s here. Where he was last season, big upgrade for sure when you get a receiver of that caliber and you upgrade at different spots to protect and run the ball a little bit better to set him up as well. So there you have it. There's a breakdown of the Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins trade, what it means for the Dolphins, Chiefs, and their quarterbacks involved, Mahomes and Tagovailoa. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Fantasy Football and making us your first listen every day. Again, we're going to take a couple days off, but then we're going to get back on the depth charts. Hopefully, we will talk about that. But there's big news. We were talking about Matt Ryan. We're talking about now Tyreek Hill. Who's the next guy to change teams? Well, we're going to be looking at that for sure, and we will pop in with the show there. But we're going to take the rest of this week off. Make sure you're getting on another Locked On podcast here, Locked On NFL Draft. Make that your second listen. Ryan Tracy and former NFL cornerback Eric Crocker bring the NFL Draft to life every day with inside analysis on college football prospects and NFL front offices. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. For Locked On Fantasy Football, for our Tyreek Hill analysis here on the show, thanks so much for listening, and we'll check you out next time.